You are soaring flight of imagination, saturated in the movable. Removable, no excuses, you're breaking all the rules. You are brew, composed in shea butter, peppermint and honey black soap. Nas lifeline inscribed in palm, unconventional, standing 20 feet tall. You are 1969 in the syncopated. Improvisation to the metronome. You chasse too. You allow your voice to ripen before time signatures expire in measures. You origami chords. You are where 30 shakes hands with adolescents realizing you just hit puberty. Watch as red clay seeps through pores building pyramids past prime. You are prime at 44. All brass, double bass, 2 drummers, 3 electric pianos, and percussionists all saying forget it at once.
Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all. It is official. We are live for the very first debut episode of All About Our Liberation, the podcast. If you don't know who I am, it's your girl, Heather Byrd here, visionary, founder, and CEO of Byrd's World and Byrd's World Publishing, where we are on a mission to empower 1,000 women of color to write and publish their brilliance so they can turn their messages into movements. And I am so excited to be with you all today. I don't know about y'all, but if you need this conversation, if you are here today and you know you need this conversation, make sure you tag your friends and you get them in the room, because today I am excited as we work collectively to reclaim and rebuild our way back home to ourselves. This podcast is inspired by the upcoming anthology All About Our Liberation, a manifesto for women of color. And we are extending the conversation so that we can transform on the page and in person, right? So together, we create permission to write, to rest, and to remember who we were before the world got its hands on us. I'm going to say that one more time. We have the opportunity to write, to rest, and to remember who we were before the world got its hands on us. So make sure y'all get your people in the room, tag them. Let me know if you are here, because I see the comments, right? This is a conversation. This is not just me and a guest. This is for everyone who is watching. So I see you, Cassie. You were in the building. I am also very excited to be here. Thank you so much, Rose Stella. She said, congratulations on the debut episode. I am super, super excited. Also said hi to Dr. Barbara. Wait till y'all hear my guest. When I tell you, this woman, when I met her, I knew that she would be changing the world. And I mean, you're going to see it. You're going to see what I'm talking about. She's going to change the world and is going to have a community behind her to make sure that she has that opportunity to do so, right? Shout out to Asada. Thank you so much for being here. Talking about that opening was fire. Yes, the female solution has brought me to this space, right? So as you all are bringing people into the room to make sure that they are a part of this conversation, I want to make sure that we have an opportunity to shout out who gave me this opportunity to be in this space, right? So real quick, as y'all are tagging y'all folks, because I see the numbers. I see y'all. Make sure you get the people in the room, all right, for this conversation. But while y'all are doing that, make sure y'all check out this introduction from the Female Solution, who made all of this possible.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
All right, all right, all right. So shout out to the Female Solution. They have shows going on every single day. every single day, 7 a.m. Central and 7 p.m. Central. I am a part of the 7 p.m. Central expansion. Y'all make sure y'all find something that is for y'all, all right? Because there is something for everyone in this space. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for making this possible. All right, y'all. I know I'm excited. Hopefully, you are excited. Before we dive all the way in, for each episode, one of the things that I want to make sure we do is ground ourselves. Yes, I will come in with the energy, but I also know in order for me to have a clear mind, I need to be able to ground and pause and honor our ancestors and the wisdom that they're going to bring to this conversation. So, as we do so, one of the things that I love to do with the communities that I facilitate is a humming grounding exercise to get us going. All right. So if you are in a good place and have the opportunity to be still for about 30 seconds, if you're driving and listening to this, keep your eyes on the road, please. Do not cause any accidents. But if you are comfortable and can do so, what I would love to be able to do is to invite you all to close your eyes for a moment and just feel what your body is doing, where you might be holding the tension. Take a moment to be grateful and to send out gratitude for whatever it may be, whether it is because you woke up in the morning, or it's because you had a hot meal, or it's because you learned how to play double dutch today. You learned how to jump the rope. You didn't get smacked in the face, whatever it may be. There's always room for gratitude. So let's go ahead with our eyes closed if it is safe to do so. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in together and out through our mouths. And for our next 3 breaths, what I would love for us to be able to do is hum out our exhale. And with every single hum, make it bigger than the last. Allow yourself to take up space, okay? Make it loud. Have somebody come in the room and ask you, why are you humming so loud? Humming is healing. We need to be able to find the tools to heal ourselves. So let's do it together. So let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in together and hum out. Feel where the tension might be in your body and send that hum to the place that needs a little bit of a hug. Let's take another deep breath in together and hum out. One last time, and make sure to make this one count, y'all. Deep breath in and a deep hum out. Whenever you are ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, I want us to consider our quote for the day. I would love for us to take a moment and just honor the ones that came before us, who have been doing the work before us, and how they've laid the foundation, right? And so today's quote is by none other than Toni Morrison. During November 20th of 1996, and if you don't know who Toni Morrison is, she is the first African American to win the Nobel Prize. And as she was speaking at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library for the Novello Festival, a lot of us have heard this quote, but in pieces, right? And so to give this context, one of the ways that we can make sure that we're honoring the full quote is to give its fullness in conversation, right? So at this festival, Morrison said, they straightened out the Mississippi River in places to make room for the houses and livable anchorage. Occasionally, the river floods these places. Floods is the word that they use, but in fact, it's not flooding, it's remembering. Remembering where it used to be. All water has a perfect memory and is forever trying to get back to where it was. Writers are like that, remembering where we were, what valley we ran through, what the banks were like, the light that was there, and the route back to our original place. So I want us to think about that quote and how it applies to just our lives and thinking about what we want to be able to get back to, what we want to be able to remember. And I want you to ask yourself the question: what or where are you being called to return to in this season in your life? What or where are you being called to return to in this season of your life? And if you want to answer that question, feel free to hop in there and answer that for us in the chat. I definitely want to be able to shout out all the folks that are in the space. Yes, let's go. I see JR Mackey is in the house. What's up? It is so good to see you in the space. Thank you for checking out the podcast. Okay, hold on. That's your cousin? Come on now, cousin. We honoring your cousin for the first episode. Thank you so much for joining us, right? So again, I want us to think about what or where are you being called to return to in this season in your life? Okay? So as we are thinking about what that looks like, let's go ahead and take the time to introduce our guests for today, right? I had the pleasure of meeting Barbara through a course from scratch thing that we did back in, I always want to say pre-pandemic, but I think it was really 2021. I think we fact checked that, and it's back in 2021. And sometimes the right people show up in your life who need to be in your life at that time. Okay. We actually were supposed to have accountability partners for this program, and we each had our own accountability partners, but we said, what's the harm in doubling up? Well, we ended up losing our other accountability partners because things happen, life takes over, and we have been rocking ever since. So, this sister here is one of the most powerful people that I have had the pleasure of sharing space with. And so, you all will have the opportunity to be in conversation with her as well. So, I'm going to read her bio. And when I read this bio, y'all, and I get done, I need y'all in this chat welcoming this sister to the stage with all of the love that you have in your heart. Okay? So here we go. Y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready for this? Hold on. I am looking at the chat. Are y'all ready for our guests to come to the stage? I think you are. I think you are. Okay, I'm gonna let your fingers warm up and let you type up as I read this, right? So, Barbara Ceptus Schreiber, PhD, CTRC, CEP, Advanced 1, a healer and visionary dedicated to guiding individuals back to their bodies as sanctuaries of wisdom, resilience, and strength. Her work is rooted in the belief that healing is not about fixing what is broken. It is about reclaiming the connection, strength, and wholeness that has always lived within us. As a fifth generation healer, she draws on her ancestral lineage to create intentional, nurturing spaces where presence, ease, and self trust can unfold. She guides clients to listen deeply to their bodies, create presence by honoring their lived experiences, and restoring a grounded sense of inner sanctuary. Her integrated somatic trauma therapy approach blends somatic experiences, experiencing trademark, with body work to deepen how healing unfolds through the body. Barbara is committed to guiding others on their journeys towards embodiment, self trust, and deep healing, because healing is a journey best traveled in the company of others. Look here, y'all. Let's go. Look, Cassie is ready for you to come to the stage. I want y'all to give all of your love and welcome my girl, Dr. Barbara Ceptus Schreiber to the stage. Hey, girl.
Hey, hey. We are here.
We are here. Oh, it brings me so much joy to be able to share this stage with you today. We have seen each other grow through so much the past 4 years, and we are also seeing each other stretch within those 4 years. So, this 4 years ago, I wouldn't have seen this happening, right? Getting you here and having this conversation so that the world has the opportunity to see you the way that I see you. So I thank you for being our first guest for this episode of All About Our Liberation.
Yes, I am so honored to be here, to be sharing the stage with you, to take this opportunity to share about our liberation, about our work. I'm ready. I'm ready to do it. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Well, to kick us off, right?
Ah, yes.
Um, I would love for you to begin open up the conversation with the folks that are in the room with us and answer the question when your body's no, let me rephrase that. What's your body whispering to you in this moment?
Oof.
And how might we honor it as we begin this conversation?
Thank you for that question. There was a deep exhale. You put the question even in the space because it's so important to honor what is right now. And as you say that, my process is to drop in, and when I drop in, I can hear my body whispering some tremors, right? Because there's excitement in the space to be here with you. There's nervousness to be on this platform talking about our work. There is tenderness. You can hear it in my voice. And so when I drop in and I listen, I can hear the whispers of both, yes, you're nervous and you're excited and ready. And those two things are swimming together in the same sauce, right? That racing heart is both excitement and nervousness. And can I soften into both and make space for both? And what's possible when I do? How can I show up authentically if I make space for both and not try to push one or the other aside?
Ooh. And how both of those things can exist at the same time.
At the same time.
Because we live in a world where it's either or. And
Yes.
that just is not how we function as human beings.
Mm-mm. No. And when we make enough space and enough awareness to listen to the whispers, I love that the way you put that question to what's my body whispering? That if I can be
Mhm.
quiet and present enough to actually hear the whisper, that what I get is this deep wisdom, this
Mhm.
deep knowing, right? Beyond what I'm supposed to be doing or supposed to be feeling, how I'm supposed to be showing up in all of this knowingness versus I'm a little scared. And
Yeah.
there's some excitement.
And there's some excitement. Yes. Well, you got some people here who are excited to see you. Rose Stella
Hey.
said Dr. Barbara is a healing gem to the world. And I will second that. And I'm sure some other people will third, fourth, fifth, sixth, that we can keep going with that, right?
Oh, it's good.
Um, yes. And so, like, again, modeling how we can have a conversation with
Mhm.
another person and just with ourselves,
Yes.
right? Giving ourselves grace in what that looks like
Mhm.
is so important. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for naming that. And I feel like I also had I have like Lisa Nichols,
Mhm.
terra-sighted,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
excited and terrified at the same
Yeah.
time, and
Yes.
combining those two things together, right? And so,
Mhm.
what does it look like to be extremely excited for something, but then also nervous, making sure you're showing up,
Mhm.
having these conversations in the right way that we really need. So,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, knowing that they both run the same pathway in the body.
They
Right.
do.
So they do, they do. They show up in the
They know
same
the
way. They
difference.
show up in our racing hearts. They show up in sometimes our vision sort of tunneling a little bit. They show up somatically very much the same. But the difference,
Mhm.
how we get to tune in and know the difference is the awareness that we bring to the moment, right?
Yeah.
Whether we show up anxious or excited is really the distance between the two is how much awareness can I bring to what is right now, what's being asked of me, what is and what I have the capacity to be in and to give. Right?
Yeah.
So awareness is that very, very key point that gets us to see the difference in our own body's expression of the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh,
Mhm.
so one of the things that we've been working on since March, April,
Yeah,
before that, probably,
before
right?
that.
Like really getting into the work
Yeah.
was having the opportunity to actually think about the ways in which the systems that have been set up have not been made for us to
Yes.
thrive. And
Mhm.
how can we actively unlearn that? How can we actively um, reclaim and rebuild from within community and have these really, really important conversations that are
Mhm.
necessary for us to have so that we can find our way back home. And as we are pulling together this anthology, all about our liberation and manifesto for women of color, there was a moment where we were writing in community and you had this download. And when you read it back to the group, gave me chill.
Mhm.
So I would love to create space as we are opening up this conversation with everyone that's here to be able to share your letter to what we call sister resistors. It's the
Mhm.
women that are in the space who are trailblazers, who are showing up and who are dedicated to unlearning and learning what is going to serve us so that we can show up as our best selves. So I would love to create space to just open up the floor and have you read that letter. And as folks are listening to the letter, let us know what resonates with you. Let us know what you might have questions about because this is an organic space. Yes, I have questions. However, if it's not going to serve you all, this is not what this is about, right? So Catherine is cheering you on. Sister Resistors are home. Shout out to Catherine Wong for being in the space. So would you
Mhm.
mind sharing that letter?
Yes, I want to share that letter, but I want to preface it, right?
Okay.
Because what is important to know is that this letter comes out of the space that Byrd creates for us to write.
Mm,
And this writing space is like nothing I've ever been in. I have been through academia, I've been through other writing groups, and there is nothing like the space that this is coming out of, which is a space where you can show up fully and we're creating with each other in real time. We come together, she gives us prompts, you all experience the humming, the grounding, we get settled, we get ready, and then we write and share, and then there's conversation and more writing, and you're watching yourself grow in real time, and you're watching the development. And this comes out of one of those moments where we're talking about urgency, and there's a prompt. And so this was my reflection to the prompt, but also to all that had been poured into me into this space already, right? That makes it possible for this to come through.
hmm.
So I write, there is no urgency. There is no urgency. There's no urgency. It's a mantra. I hear it and see it in the brown eyes and steady faces gazing through the screen at me. I'm in a virtual room with Resma Menachem and 800 or so other black-bodied folks talking about white supremacy and how it separates us from ourselves and each other, how its purpose is to keep us disconnected from our inherent sense of knowing. There is no urgency, he repeats, shaking his head slowly. There is no urgency. It is a story, a tool meant to keep us out of our bodies. And I feel it. Right then, I am out of my body. I come crashing back into tension in my shoulders, straining in my neck, but there is urgency. I don't say it out loud. I'm always rushing. I'm never on time. I'm always late. My timing is never right. And I hear it. And then I hear it. The thought forms that I mistake for me. The self-perpetuating system that takes root when you live inside a culture that does not support who you are and how you move. A voice, not mine, says, wake up, wake up. There are things to do. You're supposed to be doing something right now. Wake up. Before my body can even greet the day, I am wound tight. My feet search for the ground. My eyes dart. My pulse races. I am not oriented to this present moment, and yet I have started the day. I need to wake the kids up. I need to make breakfast. I need to work. I need to write. I need to. The mantra makes my head spin and my heart race. And then his voice cuts through like a bell joining mine, except this time it doesn't keep time. It reminds me there is no urgency. There's no urgency. It's a tool. My feet meet the cold ground. I take a breath and notice the tension, the tight rod between my shoulder blades winding tighter and tighter. My little one's alarm goes off and she pads into my room, groggy eyed, bedhead wild. Mommy, I'm tired, she whines, rubbing her eyes. I want to go back to sleep. I want so desperately to tell her to crawl back into bed with me. Let's cuddle. Forget the day. Come into my arms and rest. But I look at the clock. It's 7:30. And if I don't get her up by 7:30, I won't get to her sister and get her out by 8:30, and then I won't get to her brother who needs to be out by 9:30, and then I won't be able to start my day at 10. There is urgency. I feel it in my chest. I take a breath. I remind myself again, there is no urgency. I extend my arms to her and say, love me, which is our shorthand for let's get close. She crawls into my arms and I pull a warm blanket over us. You stayed up late last night, I say softly. I know, she whispers, and now it's hard to wake up and get ready for school. I know, she says again. Is there anything you're looking forward to today, I ask? She thinks. Today is Earth Day. We get to plant things. I like plants. We pause. We breathe. She's ready. She jumps out of bed. I know exactly what I'm going to wear, she says. She finds her Earth Day shirt and her boots. She greets the day. Mommy, can you do my hair in 3 pigtails and 1 cornrow in the back? Yes, I say, because there's no urgency. And when there is no urgency, I don't have to pull a brush roughly through her hair. We make it out of the house by 8:30. There are pauses and laughter and a dance party in the kitchen before we go. Urgency creates disconnection, you see. It's the clock ticking in my head, the invisible hand that moves me without ceasing, doing, producing, achieving. But when I remember, truly remember that there is no urgency, something sacred happens. The possibility for connection makes itself known. Most mornings, I'm yelling at my little ones to hurry up. I'm choosing their clothes because otherwise it takes too long. I'm brushing hair through tears because otherwise we're late. But when I remember there's no urgency, when I pause, when I create space for breath and connection, time rearranges itself. This reflection was made possible because I was sitting in a virtual room staring into Resma Menachem's steady face, listening to his refrain. Urgency creates disconnection from ourselves and from others. And I carry that with me now, especially in the moments when I feel harried, when I'm rushing, which are often. And each time I remind myself, there is no urgency. That's it.
Y'all, when I tell you, yes, Dr. Barbara's voice and words are medicine.
Thank you.
Oh, and urgency creates disconnection. That thought, that idea. Talk more about, oh my goodness. Y'all, yes, come on with this chat. Y'all, like I'm sitting here. I have heard this before, and I am still in awe. There is no urgency. I need. So many words that create less space and time, truly profound, and now said in divine knowledge and awareness. My goodness.
Yes, yes, yes. This Annabelle Gill. Y'all, I wish I was in the chat with y'all.
Y'all are going crazy in the chat.
Yes,
My
yes.
word. When I read that, there is something about your voice
Mm.
that makes me want to slow down.
Mhm.
There is that need to take note
Mhm.
of what's going on in my body in a way that I am not used to. We're
Mhm.
not taught to pay attention to our bodies in the way that we should. That allows for us, again, to show up
Mhm.
as our fullest self in that moment. And that'll fluctuate. Like my full self today in this minute is going to be my different than my full self an hour from now. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be different from tomorrow. And what you have taught me to do is pay attention to the whispers.
Mhm. Mhm.
Pay attention to the tingling. Pay
Yes.
attention to the butterflies that may or may not be butterflies, but now I have the tools to be able to separate and know what that looks like.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And that's the tool, right? That's the beauty of this work of understanding that there's no urgency, because urgency is about production. It's about precisely staying disconnected.
Say
When
that again.
the things that I don't get to experience, right? But
Yes.
when I can understand that I am always in right time, and I can slow down to be present to what is, right? Like that feeling that time rearranges itself for you, that
Yeah.
we absolutely had time for all the things we needed to that morning, the minute I slowed down. The minute
Mm.
I slowed down to acknowledge that little person, and her little her 6-year-old self didn't want to get up. She was tired. And just that pausing to acknowledge, you're feeling this way, aren't you? And having her be seen and be reflected
Yeah.
was what she needed. And it took seconds. It took
Mm-hmm.
seconds, right? So when we can drop in and we can connect deeply to ourselves, that's what it makes possible. It makes possible for us to have an expanded experience, right? And a much more expanded experience than when we are tight and constricted and moving from that place of tightness and constriction. So while you know, the
All that.
world would have us stay in that place of, I need to produce, I need to create, I need to do, I need to move. When we can pause that and move into presence, what
Yeah.
is created is expansion. Is exactly the thing that we want, that we can't have in that constant running, in that constant urgency, right? So there is so much spaciousness that we have access to once we're able to drop in and be in our bodies and be present to ourselves and others.
Ooh wee. Oh, look here. I know we are not the only ones that need this conversation.
Mhm.
And sometimes it takes
Yes.
multiple times to hear it before it actually seeps into your bones. So
Mhm.
you all make sure that you are taking the time to like, to share, to comment, to subscribe. Send
Yeah.
this out to someone who you know needs it. Naima put in the chat, powerful. Mothers with school age children need to remember this every
Yeah.
day.
Yes. Ooh, and Naima, that, right? Because part of what we then do is we send that out into the world, right? Think about
Mm,
how many times we are rushing each other or our children out into the world wound up and tight, and they are going to the next person, and it's what's the word? It's not catapulting.
It's a ripple effect that
You.
happens. Yeah.
Yes, it's rippling throughout. Yes, that. And what we can do is we can co-regulate, right? This beautiful thing that you did at the beginning where you have us just breathe and hum, that's co-regulation. And we
Hmm.
have the possibility to share that with others by simply choosing to be in a regulated space ourselves. When
Yeah.
we learn to and we're able to regulate, we give that gift out, right?
Yes.
Without needing to interact with other people, just by being in a regulated space, we help others heal.
Absolutely. Look here, if you all are drawn to this conversation, like this is just the tip of the iceberg of what can happen in a conversation like this. So if you want to learn more about Radical Presence, her website is down at the bottom. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but in case you want to go ahead and check that out, it's radicalpresencecoaching.com. So make sure you all have an opportunity to dive a little bit deeper into that. Um, we all have a story, right? Like, the work that I do is about being able to take our messages and turn them into movements. Our books are not meant to just sit on shelves.
No.
Our books are meant to spark conversation and to create a shift so that the rippling effect that comes from your message and your book has an opportunity to create a better world, right? And so I would love for you to tell us a little bit more of like how you got to this work and why you were able to um not why, tell us more about the work and like
Yes.
why it's something that is so important and has turned into a movement for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a wonderful question. I can answer that question with three kind of anchoring moments for me, right? That kind of lead me to radical presence, that gets me to where I am. And the first one, so trigger warning to your listeners here. The first one has to do with being a child who survives sexual trauma, right? And very early, and this is a part of my story and why I do this work about returning to our bodies, because we have these experiences that create disconnection. So there's this anchoring moment in my life where I experience this thing that is horrid and horrible. And right after experiencing it, the person who did this kind of, put me back together in this beautiful dress, did my hair, and brought me back to my mama, one of my mamas. I grew up with 3 mamas, so it brings me back to her. And I'm distraught. I'm upset. I don't know. She doesn't know what's going on. And she's talking to me. She's like, "What's going on, sweetheart? What's going on?" I can't tell her. All I have is tears. And she takes me into her arms and she holds me and she hums. That's all she does. She hums. She holds me, she rocks me, she hums to me until I fall asleep. Now, what I know now with this work that I do is that what she gave me was the gift of co-regulation. Without needing to know what happened, without knowing what happened to me, without knowing that what happened would dysregulate me so profoundly for the rest of my life, she gave me a piece of healing just from her body to mine, right? By holding me in that humming. So there's this anchoring moment that happens. And then there's a struggle, right? So I was born in Haiti. I immigrated to the United States. And I struggle for quite some time with depression, with anxiety, with just really not doing well. And I get to my late 20s, right? I get to my late 20s and I am just completely, like most of my life, I spend disconnected from my body. And I'm learning about, meditation. I have a yoga practice. I'm doing all the things, right? I'm in therapy. I think I am on this healing journey and it feels great. But something is still not connecting, right? There's still something that is not quite connecting. And so I'm sitting in my apartment, taking a break from dissertation writing, and I'm doing a body scan. And the body scan is an intensely long one. It was John Kabat-Zinn. It was like really long. He worked with folks who were healing from cancer, chronic pain. So he spends a lot of time really going through just like a very profound reconnection. And I learned something about myself in that body scan. I would fall asleep from my neck to my knees over and over and over again for months. I would do the sleep. I would go through the scan, and the moment he would say, bring your attention to your knees, out of my body, completely disconnected. And he would say, and now something about the neck. When we were back up in here, I'd be like, I'm back in the practice, right? Just like, back in the practice all of a sudden. And this went on for 6 months of me not just my body, my consciousness was like, nope, can't do it. Nope, can't do it. Nope, can't do it. And the awareness finally hit, right? I finally got to see that I was living and walking through the world absolutely disconnected from myself. And anytime anything had to do with being in this body, in this area of the body, that it was too much, that I couldn't handle it. It was too much. And so I began to ask myself questions about how and when I was disconnected or dissociated in other times of my life. And I began to see a really large pattern of dissociation, right? Anything that triggered me, anything that that caused any kind of upset, confusion, dysregulation meant that I was dissociated, which means that I was often making decisions from a place of disconnection. I was moving through relationships from a place of disconnection. I was engaging in sexual activity from a place of disconnection and dissociation. And so I began to understand that was profoundly saddening to me. It was disheartening that here I was in this body having this experience and I couldn't connect to it, right? I couldn't connect to that experience. And so then began for me an intentional journey back home to myself. That was the moment where I was like, no, this body has intelligence and I'm sleeping through it. I can't even stay awake through what it has to tell me. And so through a deliberate process of learning to be with, and this is before I had the language of somatic experience, to know that what I was doing was building my capacity to be with discomfort, I was doing that in practice, right? So noticing what happened when I got to my knees was my heart started to race and my eyes would widen even under an eye mask, right? Those moments of noticing, okay, I'm feeling panic. Can I breathe through that? I am safe now. I'm in this body now. I'm in my room right now. And really beginning to create what I now call the present method, a step-by-step process that gets us out of dissociation back into our body so we can be with the discomfort and grow our capacity for dysregulation so we can become more regulated. And so the third moment is, this is how radical presence gets born. It's this process over time of doing this work, finding different modalities where this work is done, finding different language where people are talking about this, and then not just keeping it to myself, but beginning to work with other people, right?
That
Beginning to
right
share
there.
it.
That
Yes,
right there.
we don't gatekeep
Wow.
healing.
Whew.
Exactly. As soon as I learned it, beginning to share it with others, beginning to have the
Mm.
conversation with other people, and beginning to talk about what it meant to be a survivor, which was the difficult one, right? Because oftentimes I'm in a room and then I'll say something and then the hands go up. That's why there was an entire movement called Me Too. And
Mhm.
other folks were beginning to talk about and understand that they didn't have to live in this space. They didn't have to stay in this space of discomfort in their own skin and dysregulation, that they could come home to themselves. And when they did, the profound opening that they were able to experience, because this doesn't just impact you in terms of I'm healing from this particular trauma. It impacts you in
Right.
your professional life. It impacts your relationships, your parenting, your friendships. It impacts every aspect of your life, because the body doesn't make a distinction between this is my friend doing this thing that triggers me versus this is my kid. It just knows right now I'm sensing
I'm triggered.
I'm
Yeah.
triggered and I'm pulling away.
Mhm.
So these kind of anchoring moments, and the beautiful thing, to come full circle, what I learned that I'll share explicitly is that what my aunt did with the humming was to give me a gift, because I come from 5 generations of healers,
Mhm.
knew how to heal. I come from women who know how to pray, who know how to heal, who know how to do their thing, right? And so what she gave me, just that humming into me, what she poured into me was precisely the gift that would heal me, which is the humming, the vibration, the energy in my own body is
Yes.
what comes, is what is born out of it was what radical presence is born out of, right? What I came home to was this power that was already within me, and
Mm.
her giving me that, because what we know about trauma is it's not what happens, it's how you're witnessed after. It's whether or not someone can see you through the pain, say, I see you. You didn't deserve that. That shouldn't have happened. And hold you, right? Do you have a credible witness to your pain so that you don't become somebody that lives with shame, or do you not? And without knowing, that's what she gave me. That was the gift of healing she input into me directly after that horrific experience at 4 years old.
My goodness. My goodness. Can we take a moment and just collectively hum together and just do our inhale and exhale together,
Mhm.
just to reset ourselves or reconnect with ourselves? You can
Yes.
choose to close your eyes or not, and just think about all that you just heard and how important this work is.
Mhm.
Let's take a nice deep breath in together and hum out if you choose. Hmm. Hmm. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Can I extend that invitation to say also, if memory comes to you now of the people, the moments, the experience that have grounded you in gifts and healing, to bring those to your awareness now too. Yeah, to bring those in. Because
Absolutely.
there were those moments I can think of. My grandmother, she was a humming woman,
Mm.
always around me. She was
Mm.
cooking, whatever she was doing, that vibration was always there.
Yeah.
Right? Think about anybody who ever held you and rocked you.
Yes.
Right there. That's regulation, right? The little things, anyone who ever just took your hand and held it and you could feel the warmth of their palm. So
Yes.
any of those things, bringing them to the surface now.
Yes. And it becomes second nature. So again, that's taking us back home to ourselves. Home can mean so many different things. And for some of us, home is that person that held us, that hummed with us, who took care of us, right? And to be able to go back to what is second nature to us before we even, I mean, like, we move around all the time. When we are hurting, we hum. When we are happy, we hum. When
Mhm.
we are trying to like think of a tune like we the
Mhm.
humming is a part of our entire existence, but we don't realize how much it's doing for us.
It is a healing technology,
Yeah.
right? We have this idea
Within
that, yes, that technology is outside of us. It's something that we bring in, but inside of us, we have all of this technology. We have all of
that.
these structured ways of knowing that we have to bring to our awareness, right? Think about how easily you start to rock when you're
Mhm.
feeling dysregulated. Think about how you'll hold yourself, right? If
Yeah.
anyone has ever done this thing and not known why, right? This right here is you supporting the vagus nerve. Yeah, right. So there are all these ways that we have this technology that's at our disposal. This thing here, if you've ever done it when you were feeling unsettled, this butterfly hug, this way of like letting yourself know that I am grounded, right? This is holding
Yeah.
yourself down. We do these things without thinking about them, and there's all this technology that we have
Mm.
in our internal wisdom.
Yeah. Joan said, "Now I know why my mom hummed." She
Yeah.
did that while she was cooking, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So it's there. It's within us. My goodness. Thank you so much for sharing that. Because it's the story behind why
Mhm.
we do what we do that sometimes people do not understand how far back this work goes and why it's so important. And also to hear a story that allows for others to know that they are not alone. A lot of the times we sit in that place of believing we are the only ones and we
Mhm.
run and we go hide in a corner.
Yeah.
Part of our liberation is being able to name what we're going through in safe spaces
Mhm.
and to have a collective around you to make sure that you have the opportunity to get the resources that you deserve.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say that again, that you deserve.
Yes.
That's not always told that we deserve, but we deserve. Yes, I said it 3 times for a reason,
Mhm.
right? And we get
Mhm.
to come together and make sure that you get to move through
Yes.
more whole. So thank you. Thank you
Yes,
so much for
absolutely.
sharing. My
Absolutely.
goodness.
Yeah, and I think the second part of the question you asked me is the work that I do,
Yeah.
um, that I didn't get to because I was so much in the story. But what I created out of this, is what radical presence is. It's both a sanctuary. I call it a sanctuary.
Mhm.
And it's my coaching practice, but it is also just about creating space for women to heal, particularly for Black women to heal. I hold sacred space for Black women, whether that is in small group coaching courses or it's one-on-one coaching or it's body work, right? Doing the actual emotional release work, the movement work. There is this Haitian form of a release called gale that is about moving heavy energy out of the body. Yes, I see Ralph in the chat. This is a healing room. So that's what radical presence is. So whether it is about coming together in community to find other folks who are on their healing journey to be with, or you want to do your own work, then that's what I offer.
It
Yes,
is
I see
so
your
needed. It is so needed.
yes.
So, because the link does not look so pretty when we scroll it across
Mhm.
the screen, right? But again, if you are interested in learning more about Radical Presence, you can always visit Dr. Barbara at radicalpresencecoaching.com. I've also dropped in the chat the link for the interest form if you want to spend some more time in learning more about what she's doing. But like I said, our healing is a part of our liberation.
Yes, yes. It's
And
the only way we get free.
it's the whoo, you can say
Um,
that 3 times.
yeah. It's the only way we get free. I think it's I love the way our mutual friend Leah Williams always puts this. She always says, first the work is intrapersonal. You do your own work before we
Mhm.
can work with each other. That's interpersonal before we
Absolutely.
can do the collective healing. So
Abs
if I don't do my work, if I don't work on healing me, I show up into spaces and what I bring into that space is all the stuff that I haven't worked on, right? And if I don't do the work to heal that first, then you and I can't be in a relationship that's truly about liberation.
Ooh-wee.
Can't move
Absolutely.
others through to liberation.
Absolutely. So I
Yes.
feel like in your story that you told, you answered so many of my questions. I am curious when we think about and have a conversation about what it means to return to our bodies. Is there
Mhm.
anything that you haven't mentioned yet that is important to name
Mhm.
for us to like? Again, it takes time
Mhm.
for us to hear things. Sometimes 7 to 21 times before it clicks, and for me, sometimes it's 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
is there anything else you would like to add about what does it mean to return to our bodies that you haven't mentioned just yet?
Yeah, the one thing I will add is that, and I know we hear this all the time, but again, like you said, it's worth saying that your body is not the problem. It's not
Whew,
a thing that needs to be fixed. It's home.
what does that mean? Wait, say it again. And what does that mean?
Again, your body is not the problem. It's not something that needs to be fixed. It is home. Because oftentimes,
Mm,
whether it's because we are in racialized bodies, we are in gendered bodies, living in a colonialist white supremacist system, whether we are people who have survived traumas enacted on our bodies, or because we are in those racialized bodies, we're dealing with generational trauma enacted on those bodies. We tend to see ourselves as our bodies as something that needs to be fixed, right? There is something wrong with me, right? Think about the way that the capitalist system we lives in order to kind of continue consumption, you need to fix your hair, your teeth, your skin, your body size, your weight, your this, your that. We
come
learn
on.
to see our bodies as a problem,
Come on.
right? And so the thing that is what that needs to be remembered about this work is you have to begin with, I am whole and complete just the way I am. There
Yes.
is nothing to be fixed. No matter what you've experienced in this life, no matter what has been enacted on your body, you are whole and complete just the way you are.
My
That's
goodness.
the starting point.
My goodness.
That's the starting point, right?
One more time. What's the starting point?
You are whole and complete just the way you are.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm, my
So,
word.
yes, I'll stop there. We can keep
Ah,
going.
there's so much. There is so much that is here. Look,
Yeah.
Asana said, "What a slaytastic conversation."
Slaytastic. I
We
love
got
it.
a new
I
word in
love
the chat.
them.
Slaytastic
Slaytastic.
conversation, right? Y'all
Yeah.
are in this chat over and over again. Look, Cassie says, "Say it again."
Mhm.
Um, the only way to get free is
Yes.
to know how to access our own personal healing.
Yes.
My body is not the problem. I feel like that's something that I would need to wake up and
Mhm.
say over and throughout my day over and over and over again.
It's not a problem to fix.
Mm,
Not
I
a problem.
am whole and I am complete. Yes, we usually
Yes.
focus on the outside and forget about the inside. We're not taught to focus on the inside for a reason because once we start to focus on the inside, we are
Yeah.
no longer a peg clog
Mhm. A cog in the wheel.
cog in the wheel. We're no longer in this machine, right? Because then we're aware of ourselves,
That
and
is
then
the
we have the
path.
opportunity to name that we're human.
Mhm, mhm. It's the path to liberation.
It's the
It's the path to our
possibility.
own awakening because what we find when we can be still enough, where we started this conversation to listen to the whispers, is that we already have everything we need. We
Yes.
have everything we need to heal
Ooh,
ourselves. We have everything we need to create in community. We have everything we need to be in relationship. All the things that truly matter to our humanities are always to our humanity is always already within us. And what we need is to be quiet enough, to be present enough, right? Quiet present doesn't look like quiet for everybody, but to be present enough in our bodies to be able to touch it, right? And that's the path to liberation. Then we don't need what is being sold. We don't need to be in conflict and competition, or conflict becomes a thing that moves us deeper into our relationships because we can sustain each other's hurts, right? When we've enacted hurts on each other. So it is the thing.
my word. There is so much that is here, and we didn't even begin to scratch the surface of this conversation. So, if you all are interested in hearing more from this conversation, what I'm going to be doing is offering a little 30-minute behind the scenes of us digging a little bit deeper into some of these concepts with Dr. Barbara. So if that is something that you were interested in, feel free to follow me on Substack. It is substack.com/at Blue Birds World. That's BLUBYRDS World, WORLD. And we'll be diving a little bit deeper into some of these concepts. But before we close out, I would love for you to answer a final question. Um, and again, some of this has already been answered in your stories and what you've been telling us. But what wisdom about liberation would you offer to another sister resistor who is finding her way back home to herself?
Mm. It is listen to the whispers.
Hmm.
Intuition does not shout.
Ooh.
It does not shout. You have to be willing to listen to the whispers and to lean into what they tell you. Right?
Mm.
Become aware of what your internal yes and your internal no sounds and feels like. Listen deeply to yourself.
Wow.
It.
Uh, any last words before we head out? 'Cause I know- Listen to the whisper, y'all.
Listen to the whispers.
Uh,
Listen. Hello?
my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yes.
Any last words for us before we
Mm.
go out for the evening? My goodness.
Yep, so I to put it in all caps. Somebody in all caps in the chat.
Intuition does not shout. Look here.
Just so we're clear. Just so we're clear.
Oh,
Yeah, my last words would be gratitude. Absolute gratitude for this opportunity, for time to be in conversation with you, to be in community with all the folks in the chat, just to be here to be able to talk about this because this mess, people need to hear this. We need to be talking about this, right? We need to create spaces, more spaces for these conversations to happen. So I just really want to just say thank you and gratitude for those who are here and for this opportunity.
absolutely. Thank you so much for saying yes.
Yeah.
Also, thank you so much for earlier shouting out the community that we have been running for the past 3.5 years. 3 years, 3 years, 3 years. I'm jumping ahead 6 months, right?
Mhm.
But we have been running a writing community for almost 3 years now, where we come together as women of color to have a protected space where we can have conversations like this. Yes, we are there to write. Yes, we are there to get our messages out. We also have to heal first to make sure that we are showing up on the page the way that we deserve, the
Yeah.
way that we deserve. So, if you are interested, whether you're a woman of color or not, to learn more about Bird's World and Bird's World Publishing, and if you are interested in turning your message into a movement, you can join us at our next open house, which is actually tomorrow. So you can go ahead and follow that link, birdsworld.com/open house. Again, make sure you all check out Dr. Barbara's website at radicalpresencecoaching.com. I have also dropped that interest form in the chat for you all to check out. Do you have?
Yes, I didn't mention this. So in the interest form, there is a 6-week journey that I'm launching at the end of January, specifically for survivors of sexual trauma. We'll be doing a virtual one. And if you're in the DMV, you can join us in person to do some of this work. So if you are interested, if you know a sister who needs this, drop it in the, fill out the interest form and I will send the landing page to you and reach out about more information. But that is to launch at the end of January. We'll be having, it's called Coming Home to Healing. Some of you may have been in this space already with me, but it's coming back around. We are ready.
Yes. So make sure I will add some notes into the description so y'all can make sure to follow Dr. Barbara. If you want some more, Barbara, if you didn't get enough today, again, make sure you have an opportunity to check out my Substack so you can get some behind the scenes. And also, I dropped the link in the chat. She also has a Spotify link, y'all, which means if you want some meditations, because I've listened to this, her voice is butter. It makes you slow down. Okay. So make sure y'all check out that Spotify link that I also dropped in the chat. And one last thing, if you could let us leave us with a writing prompt for us to consider. What would that be?
Where is it? I wrote it down.
We took in a lot of information today. And you know me, writing allows you to process things.
Yeah.
So what is a prompt that we can walk away with?
If you could hear if you could listen to your body whisper, what would it tell you that it needs? If you could listen to the whispers of your body. There we go. If your body could speak freely today, what truth would it tell you about what it needs? What truth would it tell you about what it needs if your body could whisper? If it could talk openly and freely.
This is so good. This is so good. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us. If this conversation spoke to you in any way, please make sure you like, share, comment, hit hashtag replay so that I know that you were here. You can join me in 2 weeks as we continue the conversation around the journey of our healing, writing, and remembering who we were before the world got a hold of us for All About Our Liberation podcast. Again, thank y'all so much for being here. And until next time, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It hurt you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, y'all, with love and liberation. Peace out.
Well.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.